Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the game Boop, which is an adorable little game with an adorable little name. I don't have any graphics to show you of this game because I played it on Board Game Arena, and I would recommend checking it out there, although I also look forward to playing the tabletop version because I think it includes a little cushion, which feels like something that cats may sit on, because that's the theme of this game. You have a kind of a quilt, a 6x6 grid, 6x6 grid quilt, and you and one other player, your opponent, two-player game, are trying to place cats and kittens on this grid and level them up a little bit so that you have 3 cats in a line on this grid. So you start off with these kitten tokens, and it is essentially a match 3 game in that you're trying to line up 3 kittens, and when you do, they all become cats. They level up to cats. So it's a little bit different than a match 3 where you line up 3 and one of them becomes a cat. Instead, in this game, you line up 3 and all 3 become cats after you do that. And then you have these cats that you're trying to line up, similar aspect, trying to line up 3 of your cats in a row. And once you do that, you win the game. Or if you have all of your cats on the board, you win the game. I think it's a certain number of cats you need to get there. But the main way to win the game is to have 3 cats in a row. The hook of the game, though, I think is really interesting because it's a type of player interaction that it can be very disruptive to the opponent, and yet it can also be disruptive or helpful to you, and it can even be helpful to your opponent. And that is, whenever you place a kitten on the board, any kittens that are directly or adjacent to it in any direction are booped away. They move away 1 space, unless something else is blocking them. And so whenever you place a kitten, you will boop away any kittens that are touching it and any kittens of your opponent. And so if your opponent is about to complete that 3x3 line, then you need to go in there and boop them away. But you might try to position the kitten that you place in such a way that it will boop one of your kittens into a better position for yourself too. Although sometimes you just have to make a sacrifice. You have to boop away your opponent and hurt yourself, or sometimes to help yourself, you might end up helping your opponent too. You might boop one of your kittens in such a way that it ends up helping your opponent a little bit. I found it to be an interesting but also difficult spatial puzzle because whenever you place a kitten, that kitten probably isn't going to end up there on that space. It's going to move at some point. And so you need to position it. You need to plan 1 turn ahead. You need to plan where you're going to place that next kitten as well. And to make it even more difficult, the edges of this 6x6 grid are the edges of the quilt, kind of the edges of a bed. Any kitten that's on the edge and gets booped off the edge does indeed get booped off the edge. The edge is not a secure border. And so that makes things quite difficult as well, that you can get booped off the edge. Also, the next level of this is once you have a cat, that cat can boop other cats and boop other kittens, but kittens can't boop cats. The cat is too big, the kitten can't move the cats. So once you start getting some cats out there, you have maybe a little bit more agency because your cat is less likely to get booped, at least by other kittens. This booping element, it's a fun word to say. I'm glad they use that word for the game, but this idea that you can boop anything. You can boop other kittens with your kitten, of the opponent or your own player, I think was a nice, clever touch in the game to add potentially negative player interaction, also potentially positive player interaction, all tied to what you were trying to do best for yourself, trying to line up those kittens for yourself. Those are my thoughts on Boop. Clever little abstract game. I would recommend checking it out on Board Game Arena. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you can think of a game, if you enjoy Boop, if you played Boop, or if you have played a game similar to it, where every time you place a piece, it is immediately impacting both the opponent's pieces near it or around it, and your own pieces of a certain type near it and around it. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks.